जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। जय गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन। यमुनातीरावनचारी। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण हरे राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। कृष्ण हरे राम हरे राम जय राधा मुरलीधर राधा मुरलीधर जय गौर प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय नाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत्या भगवतीरुत्तमा श्लोकी भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summum and Bonum, Chapter 16. Krishna chastises the serpent Kaliya. Text 19. Only one verse for today. Antar hrude bhujaga bhoga paritamarat Krishnam nidiham upalabhya jalashayante Gopamscha mudha dishanan paritah pashumscha Sankrandata paramakashmalamapurarta. What the word meaning? Anta, within, Hrade, the lake, Bhujaga of the serpent, Bhoga, within the body, Paritam, enveloped, Aras, from a distance, Krishnam, Lord Krishna, Nidiham, not moving, Upalabhya, seeing, Jala Ashaya, the body of water, Ante, within, Gopan, the cowherd boys, Cha, and Mudha Dishanan, the unconscious, Parita, surrounding, Pashu, the animals, Cha, and Sankrandataha, crying out, Paramakashmalam, the greatest bewilderment, Apu, they experienced, Artha, being distressed. Translation is offered by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Translation: as they hurried along the path to the bank of the Yamuna river, they saw from a distance that Krishna was in the lake, motionless within the coils of the black serpent. They further saw that the cowherd boys had fallen unconscious and that the animals were standing on all sides, crying out for Krishna. Seeing all this, the residents of Vrindavan were overwhelmed with anguish and confusion. Perfect. In their grief and panic, the residents of Vrindavan tried to find out whether Kaliya has forcibly dragged young Krishna from the shore into the water, or whether Krishna had jumped himself from the shore and fallen into the clutches of the snake. They could not understand anything about the situation. And Krishna's cowherd boyfriends, being unconscious, they were unable to tell them anything. The cows and calves were crying out for Krishna, and the whole situation was overwhelming and created a state of shock and panic among the residents of Vrindavan. So we recite our Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurinmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, before we begin today's discussion, so we take blessings of Srila Prabhupada and then all the assembled devotees, especially Adipurush Prabhu, and then all the devotees who are online, so that we can discuss something auspicious for the next 20 minutes. So last couple of weeks, or at least last 1 week, we are seeing this pastime of the serpent Kaliya. He was troubling so much, and then Krishna was and his friends so went near to this bank, and now this is the time, one of this, like whenever a pastime is happening, the climax in the or in YouTube, if you are seeing videos, so there is a peak period, like many people go but to that particular situation. Okay, they don't want to miss it. So this is the situation where very intense exchanges are going to happen. Those people who are so dear to Krishna, it is the time when they're going to get the maximum amount of pain. So okay, Krishna is there, Krishna is fighting with cowherd boys are there, but they're less in number. But when all the Brajvasis are going to come and they are going to face this tough reality, So this is the intense pain. This is the first time they are seeing that, oh, Krishna is motionless and he's in the lake and the serpent has already bound him. So this is the most painful thing what they are going to see. They saw that. So now what we are going to think on, what we can focus in this verse, of course. So please look at this particular word in the word meaning. Parama Kashmalam, the greatest bewilderment. So they are bewildered. The Vrajavasis, so they are experiencing this greatest bewilderment. Parama Kashmalam Apuhu. So they experience this greatest bewilderment. So this word Kashmalam is very significant, if you can see. From Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, one of the first things he instructs Arjuna, Kutastva Kashmalamidam. So it's similar lines. There it is translated as dirtiness, but it's like bewilderment. Arjuna got bewildered, like what is this? Like I have to fight my own people. And then Krishna chastises, Kutastva, kahase, from where you got this particular bewilderment? So this is not right. You studied all the scriptures and then you have got everything, and now you are getting bewildered. What is this? Come on, you cannot do this. So this word Kashmalam, Kutastva, from where you got this? Like that, Krishna is telling.
What do you think?
Yeah. So the bewilderment is there in that scenario also, where Arjuna is fighting and then about to fight, and then he got bewildered, and then seeing his opponents are his own relatives, so he got bewildered. And then recently we concluded another pastime of Krishna, so that is Brahmaji. So Brahma also got bewildered, seeing the activities of Krishna. So there also a sort of bewilderment happened. And now here they are saying that these people also got bewildered, the Vrajavasis. But here, please understand, it's not just Kashmaram. But here, Shukdev Goswami or Vyasdev is saying, it's Parama Kashmaram. It's auspicious, greatest bewilderment. Even bewilderment also, it is very auspicious. So what is the difference between these three bewilderments? Brahmaji got bewildered by judging the activities of Krishna, by trying to, analytically understand, and then with his own capabilities, he's trying to understand. So there is no love towards Krishna. So he was just judging, and then his judgment resulted in separating Krishna and his devotees. So that is causing further pain to Krishna. So Brahmaji's bewilderment resulted in that. So what is Parama in that? There is no Parama. So or Maha, so there's this greatest thing. So there is something called as Ananda, and there is something called as Paramananda. So it's much more divine. So this is Kashmala and Parama Kashmala. And then Arjuna's bewilderment is because of ignorance. So Krishna is there right behind him, but his bewilderment is based on the bodily attachment. He's thinking that these people are my relatives, and then dharma goes behind. What is the path of righteousness? That goes behind, and he is my relative. So how can I fight with him? So that is based on ignorance. But here, the bewilderment experienced by Vrajavasis is out of pure love towards Krishna. The fact that they just heard, oh, there is something happening with Krishna, and they just left everything, and then they came. This happens when you are prioritizing, somebody in your life. So you are going to leave whatever work you are doing. So the fact that you are leaving everything, dropping everything and going, that means that you are prioritizing that person. So they left everything. So they experience some omens, all these Vrajavasis. And then whenever they experience some omens, whenever people experience some omens, immediately what they do is, who is the dearest person to me? Is he safe? So that is the natural tendency. Suppose here, okay, we may not understand omens, But any natural disaster, in US there was a bomb cyclone recently. There is an Arctic wave, cold wave, and then in Buffalo there is a huge snowfall, and then everything. So, so the people from the rest of the world, they call, "Hey, are you okay? Are you okay?" So we say, "Come on, it is only in one particular, corner of one particular state of US. It's not that it's all bad." Because we are very dear, so the people from other parts of the globe, they call and say, "Hey, are you okay? Are you safe?" So somebody is saying that, "Oh, there is some flood in California." Come on, there is West Coast and East Coast. We are separated by thousands of miles, so we are all safe. The fact that they are calling means, so they have, so people are very close to their heart. So that's it. So similarly, whenever bad omens these Vrajvasis are experiencing, so immediately they rush towards the Kalindi. They wanted to know whether our darling Krishna is safe. So that is the first thing. So there. Now the thing is, so they are unable to understand. Nobody is in a position to tell what happened exactly, because the cowherd friends, so they are like completely unconscious. They are not able to speak anything, and then the cows and calves who are witnessing, so they also can't speak. They're just crying. So here what is the thing? Another point which we need to look at is, they saw from a distance that Krishna was in lake and motionless within the coils of the black serpent. So this is another thing which ponder over. So Krishna sometimes exhibit like human-like behavior, just like an ordinary. So when he is motionless, what does it mean? So motionless is something we can understand. If a person in a fight, at least in a boxing fight, boxing is happening, and then one person becomes motionless. So it means he's unable to fight back. So he's almost gone. So the person is punching, and then this person is not able to retaliate anything. So he's almost, he gave up fighting, or he is in the point of complete unconscious. He's about to leave. So this particular feeling, all the Vrajavasis got. So Krishna is okay. He is in the coils of the snake, but he's doing some struggling and everything. So there is some hope. But here, he is motionless also. So the Vrajavasis were all the more in panic. So now the thing is, how do we understand this pastime a little bit deeper? So why Krishna allows so many things to happen? First of all, okay, we know that Krishna is a supreme controller, and then Kali is a bad guy, so he's already poisoning the lake. So why don't he just like so there was a fire sometime in the forest fire, and then Krishna just swallowed the entire forest fire all of a sudden. So why don't he chastise Kalia, just like that? So why he has to enter inside, and then why he has to do all this fighting, and then all this greatest bewilderment, Paramakashmalam, to all the Vrajvasis? Why he has to do all this? So the acharyas tell that Krishna, if he wants to chastise somebody, he should have a reason also. It's not like that God, he's having thunderbolt, he'll just put a thunderbolt. No, so there is some reason, or else. So Krishna entered, and then Kaliya was basically abusing Krishna. So not only Kaliya was abusing, all the environment nearby, but it was also abusing, Kaliya was abusing Krishna. So committing aparadh towards Krishna. So when Krishna entered the lake, serpents by nature are envious. Hey, who is coming into my domain? So that's envy, right? You don't want to accommodate anybody. So serpents by nature, so they are very angry. Easily they become angry, and then they try to retaliate. So Krishna came, and then Kaliya started biting Krishna, and then his all tender body parts, So Kali was trying to hurt, and then so there is a pretext now for Krishna to chastise Kali. Okay, so this is what many times in most of the past times we see that when a person is committing, Krishna gives some leewage for a person, for a demonic person, and the demonic person commits aparadh. So then Krishna retaliates or chastises, subdues, sometimes kills also. So we can see this in the pastime of Shishupal also. So Shishupal was a demon. I mean, he has this demonic propensity. And then Krishna was tolerating for 100 mistakes. So he was always giving bad words to Krishna. And then whenever there is an opportunity, so he was trying to make fun of Krishna, criticize Krishna. So it's like, he's committing more and more aparadh. And then when the particular quota is reached, so Krishna took that action. So the another thing is we need to understand, if suppose a person stops committing aparadh and takes shelter, so then Krishna cannot kill him. So that is his Krishna's word. Not only Krishna but his devotees also. So for example, we see that there is this Kali personified. So the Kali personified was actually bad. He's just a bad person. He's having all the bad qualities. And then he was already creating chaos. He's hitting a cow and a bull. The cow is like Mother Earth, and then the bull is the personification of Dharma. So this Parikshit Maharaj, this Kali was chastising this, giving harm to this cow and bull. And when Parikshit saw, he was about to punish Kali by beheading him. But Kali took shelter. Kali said, please spare my life. It's not that he reformed, but he said, please spare my life. So when somebody says, please spare my life, so we need to, we can't kill him in that particular circumstance, of course. So the idea is like, if somebody is committing offenses too much, so okay, then you need to take an action. So Krishna always tries to give that particular space for a person to rectify. Now another thing is, Krishna is trying to give this particular anxiety to Vrajavasis. So why so? So it's like always, spiritual life is dynamic. It's not monotonous. Okay, God comes, he kills people, he protects dharma. It's not always monotonous. So there is always dynamism in spiritual life also. So there is exchange of love. So Krishna tries to keep his devotees in a little bit tricky situation. And devotees also try to keep Krishna in a tricky situation. Okay, it's not. So Krishna tries to show off. Oh, I'm this, and then sometimes Krishna gets defeated by the emotions of his devotees. So the same thing happens many times. Krishna once teases Rukmini Mata. Rukmini is the consort of Krishna in Dwarka, just like Radha in Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani in Vrindavan. So Krishna teases, oh, Rukmini Devi, you are such a beautiful person. Many kings are ready to marry you, and you just married a cowherd boy like me. Now also you are so beautiful. Why do now also I give you full freedom. If you want to marry, anybody else, better king, please go ahead. And then so he starts basically teasing Rukmini Mata like this. And then because Rukmini Mata is always serving Krishna in a very nice way, and then she is never angry with Krishna. So Krishna tried, okay, let me invoke some anger in Rukmini Mata. Come on, I want some spice in my relationship. And then so Krishna tried, but in vain. What Rukmini Mata, when she heard Krishna speaking like this, so she got completely fainted. Hey, what is he telling? Come on, and then she got fainted. So Krishna said, oh, it's not possible for me to invoke anger in Rukmini Mata. So he again pacified, sorry, it's a mistake from my side. No, everything is good. So there are times when Krishna tries to do something, but devotees react in a way, Krishna changes his own path. So that is the sweetness of the Lord. And the same thing with Srimati Radharani also. So Krishna tries to bewilder all the gopis. Gopis think, oh, Krishna is with me. And Krishna says, okay, I will teach you a lesson. And then, Krishna suddenly disappears. And then he appears as a Vishnu form, 400 Vishnu form. And then all the gopis come running and they see, oh, Vishnu is here. Oh Vishnu, please offer please accept our pranams. Where is Krishna? So, and then Vishnu has 4 hands. Okay, Lord Vishnu. So with his 4 hands, he points into 4 directions. Okay, Krishna has gone this way. And the gopis are so simple, so they all get dispersed, in those 4 directions. But when Srimati Radharani comes, and then seeing Srimati Radharani in that particular state of separation from Krishna, so Krishna gets, defeated. And automatically his artificial hands, 2 artificial hands, they get melted down. So Krishna gets overpowered by Srimati Radharani. So Krishna also many times, gets defeated by his devotees' love. And tomorrow is Advaita Acharya's appearance day. It's a very auspicious. Yeah. And India is celebrating Bharat is celebrating its Republic Day today. So it's 72 years, 73 years. Republic Day means like it's the day when they have framed their constitution.
What's it again?
They framed the constitution.
Like the 4th of July.
Yeah. Something like Independence Day.
And that's related to a British appearance? No.
Yeah.
They make it
Yeah.
simultaneously. Oh, so it's like national and like.
Yeah. It's a national day. Yeah.
Oh,
So it's a 26th of January in India. It's a Republic Day where the country formed its constitution, how to coordinate.
Like ways to try to part of that.
It is coinciding. Yeah. So there's a constitution means like how a country should function. So that is what is called
It's
a
like
constitution.
Constitution and sanctity.
Exactly. That's
really
what.
beautiful.
That's what.
Spiritual foundation.
Exactly. That's what I.
And Sarasanga.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So just like country has a constitution, so here Ekeshwar Prabhu is giving a lot of
Yeah.
inputs. Yeah.
We try to do that too, but Christianity.
Yeah. So the thing is, every jiva has a constitutional position. So that is Jivera Swarupahai Krishner Nityadas. That means living entity by nature is always in the service of God, Krishna, loving service. Now what happened, this Advaita Acharya is like a fatherly personality to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Advaita Acharya is like a fatherly personality. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always respecting him. God. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is God, the supreme God. And he is respecting Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya is so-called, Jiva and Vishnu Tattva. So he is not comfortable. Hey, what is this? My constitutional position is servant of Krishna. My constitutional position is servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But he is not accepting me as servant of Chaitanya. He is not accepting me as his servant. He is always respecting me, in awe and reverence. I am not liking it. So I have to do something. So where, Mahaprabhu will establish himself as master and then I am the servant. So what this Advaita Acharya does is, he starts giving a class. And he starts giving a class against the philosophy of bhakti. So the bhakti says always that the constitution position of the living entity is servant of God. And then Advaita Acharya gives against anti to this. He says, we are God. We are God. Everybody is God. Everything is one. So God doesn't have form. And then Mahaprabhu becomes so angry. Mahaprabhu, what are you doing? This is against the constitutional position. And then he comes and then he beats Advaita Acharya in the public, in the assembly of so many people. And then Advaita Acharya wife comes and says, Sitarani, please forgive me. He's an old man, please forgive him, please forgive him. He keeps beating. And then Advaita Acharya starts dancing in ecstasy. Yay! Haribol. Now Mahaprabhu accepted me as his servant. He accepted that he's the master of me. Yeah. So that's what he's. And then Mahaprabhu all of a sudden he becomes very shy. He understands the mood of Advaita Acharya. You see, this is what a devotee also tries to trick Krishna. So this is the loving exchanges. So here, coming back, so the thing is, Krishna wants to showcase my devotees are so magnanimous, and so much loving to me. So he tried to display himself in the coils of Kaliya, and then they are in so much anxiety. So they wanted to enter inside the water, the poisonous water. Of course, so there are reasons. I don't want to tell those, but Balram, is kept there to protect them. So that will come in the next verses. I don't want to.
So he tried to jump in and follow him, pulling him back.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is a spoiler alert. So, but yeah. So that's what here Krishna is basically trying to do this activity just to establish, the love of his devotees towards him. So just to summarize, like today's discussion. So Krishna, sorry. So we saw this Paramakashmalam. Paramakashmalam means like the greatest bewilderment. So it's not bewilderment on the basis of bodily identity or basis of one's own knowledge, but it's just bewilderment out of one's love towards Krishna. That is why it is Parama. It's a supreme bewilderment, greatest bewilderment. And then we saw, why Krishna entered into the lake. So just he should have a pretext how to chastise Kaliya. Kaliya is committing aparadh, and then Krishna, took that very seriously. So he's ready to chastise now Kaliya, and then Krishna is establishing through this particular pastime. So how his devotees go beyond the threshold to protect him and exhibit those loving feelings. So thank you so much for being a part of this discussion. So any comments or anything? Yeah. Meanwhile, I'll see if there are any messages in the chat. Okay, this is how it is whenever there is the Hari
Krishna Prabhu, thank you. Great class. Thank you for taking us out our material bewilderment and placing us into this supreme bewilderment of Srimad Bhagavatam class. Thank you. So is anybody in the temple room?
Yes,
willing to speak?
I just asked. Prabhu, anybody want to say? You want to say something?
Hare Krishna, wonderful class, thank you. And we're hearing about what's called Leela. The Leela means a pastime, different dramatical, loving exchanges. And I relish the fact that they first asked, well, did Kaliya come and grab Krishna from the shore, or did Krishna jump in? Right? And what happens, Krishna jumped in, just like with the previous pastime with Danika Shore. All right, let's go get that thing. He jumped in the lake. He was enthusiastic to engage in the fight. And then it says that Krishna pulls on the heartstrings. He does things to, like you explained, to invoke and increase the affection of the devotees and to glorify the devotees, because seeing how concerned they were about Krishna's welfare, we see their tremendous love, which was increased by the dramatic, and so painful to hear this. You hear about Krishna in the coils of the serpent. He's motionless, and Kali is wrapped around this deadly, gigantic black snake is attacking this little boy. And it's, in one sense, it's even listening to the class, it's very painful. What to speak of how the residents of Vrindavan were reacting. So we like this Leela, this drama. It makes life interesting. It's not dull. And there's so many varieties. That was funny how you talked about how Krishna was causing Mother Rukmini to faint. Oh, maybe you didn't get the best husband. You should get a different husband. I'm not so good. I'm just an insignificant cowherd, And he was trying to provoke her to fight with her because he likes that fighting spirit. But then she was so submissive, she just fainted. And Shrutikirti was telling us sometimes Prabhupada would provoke him. And he said, I wouldn't say anything. And Prabhupada said, you're no fun. You're no fun to fight with. Prabhupada was, looking to stir up some argument with Shrutikirti. But Shrutikirti was just quiet, submissive. And Prabhupada said, you're no fun. I'm looking for somebody to fight with. So there's a Leela called chivalrous Leela, just like Grandfather Bhishma. He wanted to see Krishna angry. Sometimes people say to the wife, you're so beautiful when you're angry. He wanted to see Krishna with disheveled hair and charging at him with sweat and blood and trying to protect Arjuna. And he relished that chivalrous, combative relationship with Krishna. Anyway, there's so much to say. I'm just making a few comments. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Some family relationship counseling from Adi.
Yeah. Prabhu, you want to say something?
No.
Thank you, Prabhu. Especially the pastime with Shrutikirti Prabhu. It's so nice. Even Prabhupada is also. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and on the morning walks, Srila Prabhupada would always, there would always be a devotee who would take the side of material scientists, and he would put forward all kinds of arguments, and Srila Prabhupada would defeat them. Yeah. Or there was one story where the devotee was presenting the side of the materialistic science, and Srila Prabhupada started kind of smashing him, but saying that, and the devotee was like, Srila Prabhupada, it's not me. I'm only presenting the position of scientist. And Srila Prabhupada said, I understand why they are thinking that, but why are you thinking that? Srila Prabhupada started to really chastise him. Yes. So Srila Prabhupada is grave. He's grave. You can't predict what he's going to do or say. And this is the quality of Krishna. We can't predict. Yeah. Okay, any further reflections? I have a reflection. I really appreciate the point that you made, Krishna Daya Prabhu, how Krishna went into the water, into this poisoned water, just so that his devotees could have a chance to experience concern for him, ultimately love for Krishna. So I like that point a lot. Is Bhima Prabhu on the call? When Lord Chaitanya was beaten up at Advaita Acharya, I was thinking of Bhima Prabhu. I wish Bhima Prabhu beat up me so I can be accepted as his servant. Bhima Prabhu, we miss you. It's not the same without you. Okay. Bhakta Yugo, yes, go ahead.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you for offering your time and energy towards giving us a lovely class. Continuing the theme of Prabhupada's chivalrous pastimes. I remember in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, Satsvarup Maharaj recounts how in 1976-ish, Swarup Damodar spent some time in India. And of course, Prabhupada loved to refer to him as like the iconic material scientist, but now he's a devotee. And Satsvarup Maharaj writes that Swarup Damodar would join Prabhupada in his morning walks. And sometimes Prabhupada would be walking and walking, sometimes just silently chanting, and then he'd be in the mood to fight. And he'd go, where is the scientist? And Swarup Damodar would come up and goes, yes, Prabhupada. And he said, so what do they say? And then it would begin like that. And I think that's just so sweet. And then the key reflection I have is what you brought up, how Krishna messes with his devotees, plays with his devotees to really get the full experience of a loving relationship. And I was thinking of the example of Rukmini, how he tried to mess with her, but she took it the wrong way and she fainted. And it was just like, oh, no, 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 I didn't mean it that way. And I was just thinking how that's totally us in the material world. We go through so many experiences and something bad happens, or we face a challenge, or something confuses us, and we get morose and we get depressed and we think, oh, why is this happening to me? But Krishna is there and he's just like, no, no, I'm just glorifying you. This is part of the game. This is fun. But we take it too seriously, and then we get very morose about it. And yeah, again, in the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, which I'm reading right now, we recently read the very beginning, and we read the past time when Srila Prabhupada was going up to the Jaladuta in Calcutta, and how he spent about a week or two in Calcutta before boarding the Jaladuta. He didn't even have anywhere to stay. No one was there for him. So he called up a musician that he'd met a year ago, and he said, oh, can I stay at your place? They said yes. And then when they dropped him off at the Jaladuta, there was no one there. It was just that musician. None of his godbrothers were there. None of his family was there. The prime minister wasn't there who he'd met. None of the philosophers he'd met was there. None of his publishers, no one was there. He just went up. And at that time, I mean, it would have seemed like, what is happening? I mean, this is a momentous occasion. But now we can look at that in retrospect, and that just glorifies Prabhupada even more when we read that. It just expands his glories. So in that same way, Krishna gives us so many challenges and difficulties, but while we're stuck in them, it's hard to see. But years later, for ourselves and for others, it becomes an example that, yes, this person is my devotee, and look what they went through, and they're still my devotee. So it's reflecting how that mood manifests in our lives. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishna Daya Prabhu. Back to Hugo. Beautiful reflections. Anyone else?
Prabhu wants.
Hare Krishna. We have many, of course, the military personnel, but also we have many combative sports, football, basketball, baseball, and people watch this and they're screaming and they're drawn into the drama and the competition. We mentioned this one time we can channel this combative tendency into being warriors for Krishna. Prabhupada would provoke the devotees. We know Swarup Damodar, he said to him one time there was a Hindu teacher and he brought his students and he was saying to Prabhupada, well, what is a Hindu? And Prabhupada said to Swarup Damodar, he says, what is a Hindu? He claims to be a Hindu teacher, but he doesn't know what is Hindu. What do you call that? He was provoking the devotees to be competitive. And Swarup Damodar said, he's a cheater, Prabhupada. Right in front of the student. He was a cheater. So Prabhupada liked that combativeness. And Bhima, he's a warrior. He used to be a boxer, a fighter. So he says that's the real sport. That's the only real sport, mano a mano, face to face, like Krishna in the wrestling arena with Chanuraka and Mastista, cheek to cheek, jaw to jaw, putting your body on the line directly against an opponent. It's so dramatic. At New Vrindavan years ago, there were 700 devotees living there. A lot of construction going on, the farming, a lot of physically fit and strong and passionate devotees, and working together on the battlefield. A lot of sometimes there was some friction. So we used to have a thing called the Tuesday night fights. How much time do we have? How much time?
1 minute.
1 minute. Oh, it was so exciting. We would go to Kirtan Nanda Swami's basement, and all the men would be there, and they would form a ring. And there were two people who they knew. Everybody knew these guys are having some friction, so they would put on these 16-inch gloves, which are like pillows practically, and they would have this headpiece, and they're 1 minute rounds. and Kirtananda would bang on the pot, bang, 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 and they'd jump at each other, fighting, and the devotees were chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. It was so exciting, so interesting. They were fighting like ferociously, 1 minute, and then there would be a break, and then one more minute. So that combative spirit is there, and it makes life colorful and interesting, and draws out the another kind of emotion, and that if that's a channel to Krishna consciousness, we want to fight for Krishna. Prabhupada, definitely a spiritual warrior, he challenged an entire civilization. Imagine that, coming to the shore of North America, and this prominent country, very gigantic, powerful country, and he wanted to change the whole consciousness. So we relish that. We want to join in the fight. Okay, glories to Srila Prabhupada.
So yeah, thank you, Srila Prabhupada.
Darshan time. Thank you, Krishna Daya Prabhu. Nayana Manjari ki jai. Thank you, Krishna Daya Prabhu. Great class. Great purports by Keshwara Prabhu. Happy Republic Day, William Prabhu. Okay. This was it. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Amrita Kishori Didi, nice seeing you. Venetia, Bruce Lee Prabhu, Venetia, Hare Krishna. Yogeshwari, William Prabhu, Suzanne, Pink Yogi of Harlem, Sharmila, Dana Krishna's Radharani, Danakeli Prabhu. Thank you so much for being part of this family. Come again tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam never ends, never stops. It's always fun. If you want to fight, let's fight. I wonder what they had for Vaishnavis there. Was there like a Vaishnavi league for a Tuesday night fight? We'll ask Adi. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.